All right, so real estate investing. How did I get started? A lot of people want to know because they're trying to get started themselves and they just can't seem to find that motivation to actually push them to take action. Well, I came up with a strategy that pushed me while I had my 9 to 5 job. So, for those who don't know, I did have a 9 to 5 job. I worked as an engineer. I got my degrees, plural degrees, as an engineer, and I worked there for 5.5 years. But in those 5.5 years, I needed to stay motivated because if I didn't, it would be easy to just coast, just to be like, you know what, it's not that bad. It's okay, right? And I would just stay at my job for way longer, way longer than I would want to. So, how did I keep myself motivated? How did I really get started? It started with me looking at my coworkers, me looking around and seeing all the people sitting in their cubicles, and then realizing that would be my future. Take a look. If you guys are at work right now watching this video, take a look around and say, "Wow, are those people who I'm going to end up being like if I stay here too long?" Because that's exactly it. Because they don't have a custom path for you, and they didn't have a custom path for me to live a life that I would love. So I needed to create that myself. So what I would do all of the time is tell myself that one day this job is going to chop my head off like a turkey on Thanksgiving, right? One day they were going to let me go and I would be out on my own, and that it's my responsibility to figure it out now before, right? Before I got let go. Let me figure out how to create a business. Let me figure out how to invest in real estate before I get let go, so that when I am let go, I'm not scrambling around trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my next bill. So I consistently, day in and day out, told myself that I would be let go. So that was like fear based, right? That really pushed me to go, okay, I can't sleep on this. I can't sleep on this. I can't get too comfortable. Let me keep figuring it out. Let me figure out how to invest in real estate. And then there was another one. There's a pull, right? So that one was like a push. That was like the sharp pointy stick, and then on the other side was the carrot that's pulling me. So I was in my 20s. I didn't have a family yet, but I knew one day I would have a family. And I never wanted to be the person that had to drop off their kids at daycare so that they can go run to work and miss out on all of the upbringings that comes with having a kid, right? Watching them walk, watching them say their first words, watching them eat, watching them develop, watching them find their hands, watching them just figure out the little things like the development of life, right? I never wanted to miss that. I never wanted daycare to be mandatory. I wanted to be in my future family's presence at all times. So in my 20s, way before kids and a family were ever in the picture, I was like, I got to figure this out now so that I could have that. Because one day when I get there, I want to be free. I want to be able to do what I want. Fast forward to today, when I'm standing outside of my house just taking my walk, I'm watching my neighbors get their little kids and shuffle them to their car, put them in the car seat, slam the door, get in the car, and boom, off to daycare. Like every single day, they are rushing with their kids off to daycare. Some of them come back because they work from home. They drop off their kids at daycare and they work from home. And then other ones just go and they start their day because they work in corporate America at some office or whatever. And it's like, aha, I knew it. That's the life I never wanted. I knew that would happen. In my 20s, before I had kids, I knew that that's what I didn't want. So I need to figure it out now. So again, how did I find the motivation? I kept telling myself these stories in my 20s that, Hone, if you don't figure this out, there's your future, right? There's your future. But also, the other future is that they're going to cut you. They're going to lay you off. You're not going to have an income. You're not even going to be able to stay here. So how would you feel, Hone, if you got laid off and you didn't have any money coming in, right? And so I kept scaring myself. There's my future, or I don't have a future. They're going to fire me. And then what kind of life do you want, Hone? In 10 years, in 20 years, what kind of life do you want? What kind of family life do you want? What kind of freedom do you want? I knew I wanted that freedom. So I would consistently push myself to read more books, to attend more seminars, to work out problems, math problems. I would analyze fake deals. I would make up a deal. right? I would take a deal. I would say, okay, here's a building. It has this much income. It has this ARV. It has this, right? And I would make it up. And then I would analyze it and say, is this a good deal or not? And I would just randomize the numbers. I would say like, oh, this building's $200,000 with a $3,000 income and a $80,000 rehab budget with an ARV of $500,000 or whatever, right? And I would just run the analysis. And I would say, deal, no deal, deal, no deal. And all of this was hypothetical. It was all made up. But I would practice because I wanted a seat at the table with the rich kids in the future. I wanted to be somebody who had passive income, who was generating wealth, who was becoming a millionaire. I wanted all of those things in my early 20s. I knew what it would take, and so I did the work. But in order to do the work, in order to be like, oh, I don't feel like it, right? There are days where I just didn't feel like doing any of the work. I would have to remind myself, Hone, they're going to cut you one day. They're going to cut you one day soon. Or if they don't cut you, you're going to end up like Joe, Dick, and Harry over there, who have been at this job for 30 years. Look at them. Do you want their life? Also, take a look at your future neighbors running off with the kids, going to daycare, dropping them off, missing out on all of the developmental years, all the developmental years of a baby early on. Them saying their first words, first steps, first everything, missing all the first. Can you imagine just missing all the first? It's not the same watching your 17-year-old as it is watching your 1-year-old, right? Two totally different things. So those are the things I never wanted to miss out on. So again, I needed to figure out how to become a real estate investor way before being a real estate investor. There was a lot of things to do. There was a lot of analysis to do. There was a lot of terminology that I needed to learn. There's a lot of deal flow that I needed to find. There's a lot of work to do in order to become a real estate investor. The question is, what's going to keep you motivated to continue to do this? And so the fear of missing out on all those things, or the fear of losing my job, the fear of growing old and not being proud of myself, all of these fears, all of this stuff was the motivation I needed. So now you got to ask yourself, what is the motivation that's going to push you, right? Feel free to leave that in the comments. What is the motivation that's going to push you to do the work you need to do, right? I talk to a lot of people also who want to become real estate investors, and we do a coaching call, a consultation or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like you want to be a real estate investor, and you know that I can get you from where you are to where you want to be. So would you be interested in getting started? And some people talk to me like, oh my God, Hone, this is fantastic. I absolutely want to get started later. And I'm like, later when and why? Think about this. They push it off. They go later, some future date. They want to become a real estate investor. They want to learn from me. They do want to genuinely, they want to learn from me. But there's something inside that's making them nervous. And they're like, oh, I'm somebody who takes things real slow. It's why? Why do you take things real slow? And by the way, where you are today, you got there because of the actions you've been taking. All of the things you've been doing, all of the habits you have gotten you where you are today. Do you want to continue to be where you are? Or do you want to start breaking the habits that don't serve you? So that's the kind of, how do I say, there are things that are causing people to not get what they want, and they don't even know they're doing it, and they think they're saving themselves. Hone, I like taking things real slow. Hone, I'm risk averse. Hone, I wanna think on it for a long time. It's dude, haven't you already done all of the thinking? Haven't you already put in the time and waited and pushed off your dreams for tomorrow many days ago? What's going on? So I bring that up because it fascinates me, because it wasn't one person. It was actually many people who were I just got to think on it. I just got to think on it. It's all right, well, one day maybe, I guess. That's the problem with people. This one day mentality, this today, tomorrow, later. It's why? Why? What are you waiting for? What are you scared of? You already don't have what you want, and you don't have what you want, and you haven't had it for a very long time. So what is it that's causing you to delay your pursuit of your dream, or delay the pursuit of you acquiring the freedom that you've always wanted? It confuses me. It confuses me. Now, maybe it's because I don't push on people. I don't give them that sense of urgency. Maybe I don't have like all of the sales tactics and all that. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's because I'm not a good salesman. I'm just there to help people. And I'm like, well, here's an opportunity. If you'd like to join, then feel free to join. And people just go back to their old habits. Hone, one of these days I'll do it. All right. And like I talk to people who are like in their 50s and 60s and they're like, one of these days. I'm like, are you kidding me? What's going on in your brain? How does your brain work? So I don't know. I did this motivation stuff to myself in my early 20s, right? I did it to myself in my 20s because I could see the life that people lived. Like I knew 60-year-olds and 50-year-olds when I was in my 20s. At my job in corporate America, I was surrounded by them. There was so many older people, and I got to look at their life. And there it was, petri dish, right? There's my like science experiment. Like, Hone, is this the result you want? Here it is. Here's the petri dish of like what life looks like if you stay in corporate America until you're very old. Here you go. And I was just like, that is not it. That is absolutely not it. So I don't understand when people tell me one thing, like they want to be free, they want passive income, they want to be able to be there for their family, and yada, yada, yada. And then their actions are, I'm going to think on it. I'm going to wait for a little bit. Maybe next week, maybe this, and then it just never happens, right? Some people have reached out to me like 8 years ago, and I'm still seeing them to this day. And every once in a while, we'll still talk. And it's like, I'm still thinking on it. Bro, it's been 8 years. I don't know. Maybe I should give up on people quicker. I just don't. I guess I don't do that quick enough. But if you guys are interested in my help, right, go to honezone.com/help me. I am helping people figure out how to become real estate investors. I am helping them find the motivation that they need. I am showing them that it's not as risky as they think. I am showing them how they can do it without their own money. I am showing them how to do it without their own credit. I am showing people how to get this done. So if you want to become a real estate investor, if you want to figure out how to create some more passive income, if you hate dropping off your kids at daycare because you are missing all of their developmental years, then reach out, honezone.com/help me. All right, guys, that is it. I'm Hone Tai. Let's multiply. See you guys in the next video. Peace.